Thanks for joining us on episode 1086 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I am Donna Renee Patrick. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the ability to use your temple and thoughts is vital to live out your purpose. And one way to be inspired to do that is listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend, Scott Mater. Because I don't want to waste time doing stuff. It may be something over here that I really want to do, but it may be something I know how to do. But the question is, does it line up with my purpose? And the other reason it's important to me, Scott, is so that I don't miss being a blessing in somebody else's life.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's interview with Donna Renee Patrick, I asked Donna to share with you her definition of leadership. Donna also shares some stories about those that influenced her life, and Donna also shares some tips on using writing to build your influence.
One reason I like to bring you great interviews like the one you're going to hear today is because of the power in learning from others. Another great way to learn from others is through reading books. But if you're like most people today, you find it hard to find the time to sit down and read. And that's why today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Go to inspiredstewardship.com/audible to sign up, and you can get a 30-day free trial. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from, and instead of reading, you can listen your way to learn from some of the greatest minds out there. That's inspiredstewardship.com/audible to get your free trial and listen to great books the same way you're listening to this podcast.
Donna Renee Patrick is serious about walking in her unique purpose and helping others walk in theirs. She is an award-winning author of 2 devotionals, At All Times and It's In Your Praise. She also co-authored 3 volumes entitled The Perfect 7, Stories of Roaring Faith Volume 4, and Be Refreshed. She has been a musician and a choir director most of her life and serves as a powerful worship leader. She is a regular presenter at the Bay Area Church Workers Convention, has had a commentary published with the African American Lectionary, and serves on the faculty of the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Choruses. Donna also serves on the executive board of the Northeastern District Baptist Association as the award-winning radio host of the Donna Patrick Show, where we talk about all things praise and worship. She coaches and trains music ministry personnel and church leaders on how to give God the kind of worship He wants, rather than just what we choose to give Him. Donna earned a Bachelor of Science degree from Bishop College in Dallas, Texas, as well as a Master of Arts in Christian Education from Dallas Baptist University. Welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you having me tonight. I'm happy to be here.
Donna, one thing that people often think of as developing their influence is actually being a leader. So over the years, I've learned that different people define that word different ways. So how do you actually define leadership?
You know what, Scott, you're absolutely right. That's a question that you ask 10 different people. You'll probably get 10 different answers. But for me, leadership, it at the very basic is the ability to influence people to follow. At the very basic, leadership is the ability to influence people to follow you or to listen to you, whatever it is you're putting out there. If it's business, ministry, if it's life skills, whatever the case might be. A leader is able to influence people to get them to listen and be a life-changing force in whatever it is that they're endeavoring to do.
So who are some of the people that actually influenced and led into your life?
I've already mentioned she has to be number one because God used her to pour so much. My mother made sure that we knew who Jesus is, and she made sure that my sisters and I, developed a relationship with him. But there were so many others, Scott. I could call them by name. They were deacons in my church. They were my Sunday school teachers. My piano teacher was a huge, and so much of what she taught me, even as a kid, I'm still putting into practice. There were deacons and leaders at my church. There was my pastor who kept us involved in youth activities and youth ministry and youth conventions and things. There were so many people in my church that I saw serve others. I watched them serve other people. I grew up watching them serve other people and did it with a smile. They didn't ask for any money. They didn't ask for pay. Some of them were business leaders. Some of them were business owners. Some of them were leaders in the community who were always after making sure that others had what they needed, the resources they needed. So there were so many people, not only in my church, but in my community, that influenced me as coming up, for sure.
And when you think about that, how is walking in your purpose important to you? What does that mean to you now?
You know what, Scott, I wrote an article a while back called 3 Things No One Tells You About Your Purpose. And those 3 things in the article are, first of all, so you don't waste precious time doing what God never meant for you to do. So it's important to me to walk in my purpose so that I am in the will of God and I'm doing what he has designed for me to do. Because I don't want to waste time doing stuff. It may be something over here that I really want to do, but it may be something I know how to do. But the question is, does it line up with my purpose? And the other reason it's important to me, Scott, is so that I don't miss being a blessing in somebody else's life. Because purpose is so important. Purpose guides your decisions. It guides my behavior. It guides, where I want to go in life. My purpose guides me all the way with that. Purpose gives me a reason to get up in the morning. Purpose gives me a reason to do the things that I do. And it guides my decisions. It guides my behavior. And Scott, I don't think any of us want to leave life full. We want to leave empty. I want to give all I have to give on this side of life so that when the Lord calls me, I've done what I'm supposed to have done. I've given what I'm supposed to have given based on his instructions. So that's why it's important to me.
So earlier, a few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about how you've got several books out and you became a writer, first with the emails and later with books.
Yeah.
As someone who's written several books, I think a lot of people will tell you they've got a book. They say something like 85% of people say, oh, yeah, I want to write a book.
Yeah.
And yet 85% of people don't write a book. So what advice would you have for somebody that's thinking about using writing as one of the tools that they have to build influence?
Figure out your target audience. Who are the people you're trying to reach? Who are you writing to? Who are you writing for? Figure that out. Because when you when you know who your target audience is, then it's going to influence what and how you write. So know who you're writing to and have a purpose. Different people have a different purpose for writing. Some people write to share their experiences. Some people write because they have a message to get across. Some people write just to get it off their bucket list. It's something I always wanted to do. And so they write a book because it's just something they didn't plan to sell it necessarily. They just always wanted to write a book. And so they did that and checked it off their bucket.
You can follow Donna Renee Patrick on Facebook or LinkedIn as Donna Renee Patrick, or find out more about her books and services over on her website at donnareneepatrick.com. That's spelled DONARENAY patrick.com. Of course, I'll have links to all of that in the show notes as well. Donna, anything else you'd like to share with the listener?
You know what? I just want to share that stewardship is more. I grew up where stewardship was pretty much all about money and how we handle it. But I've since learned that there's so much more to stewardship than that. So I just want to encourage everybody to expand your thinking, about stewardship, and recognize that everything, literally everything that we have belongs to God. The earth is His. Everything we have in our particular sphere of influence, it all belongs to God. And so I just want to encourage everyone to keep that mindset and understand that whatever we have, even down to our education, our degrees, all the experiences that we've had in life, all of it belongs to God. All of our resources, be they financial, educational, academic, ministerial, all of our resources that are in our grasp, it all belongs to God. And I hope that we'll all be encouraged to remember that.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you enjoyed this episode, please do us a favor. Go over to inspiredstewardship.com/iTunes rate, all one word, iTunes rate. It'll take you through how to leave a rating and review and how to make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so that you can get every episode as it comes out in your feed. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.